What is up, farming family? How y'all doing today? Today, we're checking out the HUDEF Viva 16. If you remember my HUDEF 6.8 review, you'll remember exactly how it was and how I felt about it. But let's have a little flashback. It has a very, very weak, sweet spot. So there was no control. It was just a roller coaster altogether. If you want something with spin, you would probably need to go to a carbon fiber paddle or just something with spray-on texture. Now that you see how I felt about the paddle, I also mentioned how it wouldn't stack up against raw carbon fibers that are thermoformed and foamed edged. I also mentioned how the price of it was too expensive. And HUDEF responded by reaching out and sending me their new paddles that are raw carbon fiber, thermoformed, foamed edges, and priced pretty dang good. So we're going to get into this review. You're going to figure out, how I feel about the power, the control, the price of it. But I have mad respect for a company that can take, criticism and not get upset and, like blacklist people. Other companies, I'm not going to name them, have hated a review that I've released and they just ignore me now. But HUDEF didn't. They actually were like, well, we're going to give it another shot. But let's get into this. Enough of me running my mouth. This paddle's face is a T700 raw carbon fiber. It's thermoformed edges. It's injected with foam in the edges as well. It's a unibody design, so it's not going to snap like Riley Newman's Gamma paddle in one of the recent pro matches. The shape is elongated. The weight varies from 7.8 to 8.3 ounces. The length is 16.5 inches. The width is 7.4 inches. The thickness is 16 millimeters, which I've already told y'all that. The grip length is 5.5 inches, and the grip circumference is 4.25 inches. When it came to the power of this paddle, I felt like it most resembled the Vatic Flash 16mm. Like when I was hitting, I didn't feel like the ball was launching off at a ridiculous rate. I didn't feel like it was uncontrollable at the kitchen. I didn't feel like, when I hit a drive that it was going to automatically just launch into oblivion. It felt like it was pretty controllable with the amount of power it had, and it felt almost identical to how the Vatic Flash 16mm felt when I was using it in terms of power. That's the best way I can describe it. There may be another paddle or two, thermoformed wise that, it's similar to, but that's the one that I would probably, group it with in terms of power.
As for me, I see this as sort of like a Carbon 1X when it comes to power. It doesn't have like crazy pop, so it's actually really controllable, but it does have enough power to put away a shot.
As you've heard with the power, I didn't feel like it was ridiculous like launching. It didn't have crazy amount of power to where it was uncontrollable. So when you get to the kitchen, I feel like your dinks, your third shot drops, your resets, your blocks, all that is going to go, pretty flawless if you've used the thermoform paddle. This isn't going to be like way out there in the control category. Like it's not crazy soft. It's also not crazy powerful. It is pretty much an all balanced paddle in my opinion. So you're not going to get upset if you're wanting control and power. Like that's pretty much what this paddle offers.
Yeah, like my brother said, this paddle has great control and you will not really struggle with it at the kitchen line.
In terms of spin, I don't do the spin numbers or anything like that. I just sort of eyeball it based off of how, my serve, dips, how my slices are, how my top spin dinks and stuff are. You can generally tell a difference in paddles if you've played with the paddles enough. But with this one, it groups up there with the V7, the Vatic Flash, and the Rhombus R3 Pulsar that hasn't came out yet. All of those sort of have the same similar spin, which is crazy good spin. I don't know if I'd compare it to the Legacy spin, but it's still crazy good spin. With that said, Legacy is in a different factory now, so they might not be producing the same spin they once was. So take that last comment with a grain of salt.
So the spin on this paddle is really good. I've been using the Engage Ultra 16mm as well, and I can definitely tell the difference between the spins on the two paddles.
In terms of maneuverability, most of these thermoform foam edge paddles are going to be a little bit heavier or feel heavier than the Generation 1 raw carbon fiber paddles. HUDEF has made a, a Generation 1 raw carbon fiber paddle, and it feels significantly lighter than the, thermoform foamed edge paddle. So if you're wanting something with a lot more, mobility and stuff, I would probably look towards the Generation 1. But their Generation 2 isn't like crazy heavy either. You're not going to, be complaining about your wrist hurting or anything like that. unless you've already got, wrist problems or a really tiny wrist. I would think it's just as durable as the other thermoform foamed edge paddles. I don't see anything on it that was made cheaper or anything like that. The one thing that my brother kind of had a gripe on was the handle. He didn't really like the handle a whole lot. I personally didn't have a problem with it. I generally, if the handle's too boxy or it feels weird, if you slap an overgrip on it, it will kind of fix it a little bit. But I didn't have that problem before I added an overgrip, but that was just his personal opinion. But yeah, I don't think it's going to snap or anything like that because it's a unibody build too. And when it comes to customization, all I did with this paddle was I added an overgrip. I didn't add lead tape or anything like that. The paddle felt really good using it all around, and I didn't really see a need to add lead tape at all. I felt like an overgrip was enough. But I should have put electric tape or something over the edge to guard the red edges, even though that is one of the cool looking parts of the actual paddle. I'm so tired of seeing black and white edge guards. For the price, okay. Just so you guys know, I have a 15% affiliate link down in the description. So the $99 thermoformed foamed edge paddle will be $84 with the code. I want to tell you how I work when it comes to codes. I will test out a paddle. I'll see if I like it. And then if I do, and I would actually endorse the product, I will use the code or try to get people to use the code for discounts. If I don't like the paddle, you won't see me share a link for the code. The 6.8 paddle from HUDEF I did. They would have sent me, were going to send me a code, but I didn't like the paddle, so I didn't, push that link. Versus this paddle, I really, really like, especially for the $84 when you use my code. Like, that's ridiculous.
So for this paddle's cost, I really don't think you can beat it. Because with my brother's 15% back, you get it for $84. And we do get a kickback from that. But I really do think that this paddle is well worth the money, though.
But yeah, this has been my review of the HUDEF Viva 16mm. I'm going to be testing out the 14mm. I'm going to see, what the difference is and see if it's anything drastic. So stay tuned for that. I've also got their Generation 1 16mm and a 14mm. And I've also got their raw carbon fiber EVA foam paddle I'm going to be trying out. And 60 is sending me their DBD 14mm. So stay tuned. I got a lot of stuff coming, y'all. And if you've enjoyed this and found this insightful, smack that like button and mollywop that subscribe button. Hit that bell so you can stay updated for, new content because I'm doing 1 or 2 videos a week. And I got an Engage Ultra video coming out later this week. I'm recording it Wednesday, y'all. But until next time, stay safe, have a good day, drink plenty water. Peace, y'all.